Hey there YouTube, Steak Juice here bringing you another video review. I've got my top 10 picks of the year for 2019, and I also have a few honorable mentions. A lot of these figures I've just opened up, taken out of the package. I was going to review them, I just never got around to it. So I'm doing most of them in one gigantic review for the end of the year. So here to start, here's the first honorable mention. Transformers War Siege for Cybertron Ratchet. I was lucky enough to walk into my local Walgreens and see 3 of these sitting there, so I was able to pick one up. I had actually went in there looking for some other figures, and I saw this and the Dragon Shield Black Ranger, so I picked up these 2 instead. And I'm kind of glad I was able to find this at the Walgreens. Usually, as everybody knows, whenever they put out a Ratchet, he's exclusive to a certain retailer, so he's one of the hard ones to pick up. So that's first honorable mention. Second honorable mention is Transformers War Siege for Cybertron Mirage. This is the first Mirage I've picked up since the Universe line. I did not pick up the one from Combiner Wars simply because it was just a repaint, remold, or, well, not even a remold, just a repaint and a different head of drag strip. So this was actually the first Mirage that I've seen that I wanted to pick up in a while. And thing I like most about it is the see-through plastic. I have not been able to find the one that is all see-through, like he's in the middle of his phasing going invisible, but that's a 2-pack on Amazon, I believe, and I'm pretty sure it's going for a pretty penny by now. Next honorable mention is Transformers War Siege for Cybertron Megatron. And I was thinking about putting him in my top 10 simply because it's a very good G1 representation of Megatron. Let me see if I can get the camera up a little bit. But then I was just thinking that, you know, it's a good Megatron, but it's not really what I picture as a top 10 Megatron. That would be the Masterpiece, which I got last year, so I wouldn't put it into my top 10 for this year. But as you can see, I've got the little gun accessory that comes with Soundwave stuck in the back to give him that more G1 appearance of the gun barrel being over his shoulder. Whenever I do get to displaying him on the shelf, I probably won't display him with this gigantic sword gun, whatnot. I'll probably just throw that in a bag somewhere. And I would really like to come up with the one that has the cartoon accurate colors, but my local Walmart has not gotten them in yet. But anyways, here's my last honorable mention, the Transformers War Siege for Cybertron Megatron. So starting out with my top 10 will be one of my newest pickups, MP45 Bumblebee. Now, I wasn't really sure if I was going to put this on my top 10 simply because when I first saw this figure, when it was first coming out, I was like, wow, that thing looks good. It looks just like the G1 Bumblebee. You know, it'll replace mine. But then I got it in hand along with another figure I picked up this week, which is much higher in my top 10. And I stood them side by side and I was like, wow, I was like, this one is $50. This guy is $120, but yet I thought the $50 one was way better than this guy. And I feel like this guy could have been a really good action figure. The backpack, it doesn't really bother me. For some reason, mine just keeps coming loose a little bit, you know, get it pushed back in every now and then. But the backpack isn't all that bad. It doesn't really bother me that much because I'm not going to look at it from the side. Even at an angle, it's not too bad. But these feet, I just feel like if they had not gone for the door opening gimmick for this guy, they probably could have made him look so much better. The feet probably could have looked better. The backpack may have looked a little bit better. But all around, I mean, being a $120 figure, I don't think this figure should have been $120. When they made him, people probably would not complain as much if they sold him for maybe $80 to $90. You know, $20 to $30 more than the original figure, and people would have been fine with that. Double the price, I don't feel like it's double double anything. Posability, yes, it's better posability. It has a better cartoon likeness, but other than that, I don't feel like it's worth 2 times the price of the original figure, and that's why it's my number 10. Number 9 will be the Transformers War Seas for Cybertron Refractor. Yes, I only have 2 of them, but that's because this is another figure that's kind of hard to find. And whenever they get to my local store, they only ever have 2. So the first time that the box showed up, I could tell that somebody came in and bought both of them, because the next time a box of these showed up, they left 1, which I was able to get 1, and then the other I found in another Walmart store. So eventually I will have all 3. But the thing I like best about these is just the fact that they actually made him and they gave him his camera mode. So whenever I get the third one, I will probably most likely display him in the camera mode with my Metroplex or my Bruticus, or I'll just have all 3 of them, you know, on the shelf in a battle pose together. So that's my number 9 pick. My number 8 pick are some of the figures that I always buy when they come out, and that would be the Seekers. Now, I'm sure everybody knows that, you know, the Seeker mold comes out and everybody gets tired of buying Seekers. And okay, sorry about that. I had to pause the video for a quick moment. But a problem that I've got with my Skywarp is that his guns, his shoulder guns, they are super loose. I went to pick him up to put him on the shelf, and this thing literally fell off and slid across the floor. Now, I don't know why that is. It's just this one. This one's loose, but it's nowhere near as loose as this one. But when I was going to do the review about these, I was going to open all 3 and then just do the review on Skywarp, because he is my absolute favorite out of all 3 of the Seekers. Raise this up a little bit more. Now, I know he comes with 2 Battle Masters, Target Masters, whatever you want to call them, but I gave the one to another figure because that one goes with that figure. Even though he came with all of these, plus this one here. I'll probably just throw this in a box somewhere. I don't even feel like displaying these, unless I just feel like I need some background characters or whatever. But every time they come out with Seekers, I have to buy them. I try to get every single mold that I can find. I have the Universe Seekers, the Universe Cone Heads. I don't have the Rainmakers, the Universe Rainmakers, because I never could find those. And whenever I did find them, they usually wanted a lot for them. But out of all 3 of these, Skywarp's always been my favorite. Usually, as everybody knows, they put out a Starscream first, and then they base the other 2 off of him. But either way, I think they look good. Plus, they're Tetrajets. Hasbro finally gave us Tetrajets. So I'll eventually get these displayed on the shelf with everything else. I don't know if I'll have them in. I may have one in Tetrajet form while the other 2 are, you know, in battle poses or whatever. But these are my number 8 picks. Now on to my number 7 picks. My number 7 pick is Transformers War Seas for Cybertron Shockwave. Now I'm showing him with all of his stuff because, as I said earlier, a lot of these figures I just opened up, took them out of the package. So I still have all of his extra junk that they attached to him, just to call him a leader class when, you know, everybody knows he's a deluxe with added on accessories. But whenever I do display him on the shelf, I will most likely not display him with all this extra stuff. Maybe this, I'll sit this there, use it in the sled form that they show. But all in all, it'll just be the main bot right here that I will have on the shelf with everything else. I don't know why this thing seems to be sitting kind of sideways, but I'll figure that out later before I get it on the shelf. It might just be the way it's sitting. It's a little bit straighter. I don't know. I mess with it later, but either ways, I picked this figure up. They finally made one that fits in with the rest of the figures. I knew I had to get it. In fact, my wife bought this one for me, and I'm glad that I was able to pick it up. I wish I could have got it for a little bit cheaper price, you know, just got the main figure without all the extras, which I'm sure everybody else is wishing Hasbro had done, but at least they did give us a Shockwave. So the number 6 pick is another recent pickup that I have, and that would be Transformers War Seed for Cybertron Spinister. And I give him this Target Master. I got one more to pick up once they release him, or at least get him in this area. I'll pick him up, and then I'll have the full Target Master set there. Probably take these, throw these in a storage bin somewhere, but that and get some way to keep his rotors up in the back. But I saw this figure, and I'd actually bypassed him a few times, because when I first seen him, I thought he was two legends stuck together. But then I saw it was just one figure, because I know they did another figure that looked like this. The top half was a helicopter, bottom half was a vehicle, and it was two legends figures that they sold for a deluxe price. But this, I had not known who this figure was. I had to look him up when he came out, and then I seen the colors. I bypassed him 2-3 times at Walmart. Then I seen it, scanned it with the little Walmart app, saw that on the app he was selling for about $3 cheaper. So I was like, okay, I'll pick it up for that price. So got me a Spinister. I like the color choices that they used for this figure. I know it looks mainly like the G1, but it's just a nice looking figure. And I'm glad I picked it up, even though I bypassed it a few times and wasn't going to get it. But that was my number 6 pick. My number 5 pick is the Transformers War Seeds for Cybertron Soundwave. Now I've got him, I'm showing him with the 2 cassettes. I have Ravage on the inside, have Laserbeak here. Showing him with these cassettes because, you know, they would just be honorable mentions, but, you know, everybody, you have to have the tapes if you're picking up Soundwave. The other 2, or the other 4, I have yet to see show up at my local Walmart. So until I can get my hands on those, I won't have a complete set. But I got this guy because I have the masterpiece of him, and everybody knows Soundwave is just a really good figure. I have not transformed him at all. I don't plan on transforming him. I'm just going to sit him up there and let him be the imposing figure that he is. And eventually I will have all of the rest of his little tape partners to sit around with him. My number 4 pick is the Transformers War Seed for Cybertron Optimus Prime. Now I know they're releasing the Transformers Earthrise Prime, and I'll probably, whenever I pick him up, he will probably take the spot of this one. But for now, I have this one here. And this one is just a really good G1 Optimus Prime, which is something that I've never had. I never had the original G1. The closest to a G1 Prime that I have is my Pepsi Optimus Prime one, which I bought used off of eBay because I never could find it in the stores anywhere. I think that was sold at Toys R Us, but I'm not sure. Either ways, I got this figure, and if I can find the anime color one, then that one will probably take the place of this one. But as I said, once the Earthrise come out, that one will probably take the place of this as being my Prime on the shelf. So saying that, my 3rd top pick for 2019 is this little guy here. The New Age. Sorry, I had to look the name up. The New Age Lucifer. Now, this was the other figure that I was talking about that I got at the same time as the MP45. This figure is $50. When it first came out and I saw the price, I was like, man, $50 for Legends, I'm not sure about that. But then I went ahead and got it, and this is a super amazing figure. This is basically a mini masterpiece in your hands. The joints, except for this waist joint, which it was tight before I used it, but after that, you can see it's kind of loose. It's still got some decent friction on it. I mean, it'll hold a pose if you put him in a pose. As you can see, I got that bent. It'll stay there. It's just the legs are heavy because there's die cast in the feet. And I think is die cast right here too. But this guy is just It's just so awesome. For $50, this figure is cool. I'll pick up the other two, so that way, once again, I'll have all three of the Seekers, and they're making their cone heads in a 3-pack. So I'll probably pick all three of those up at one time. But I bring Bumblebee back in so I can show you exactly what I was talking about. Bumblebee, being a $120 figure, is barely taller than this $50 figure, that other than the loose waist joint, if I can get it to stand. As you can see, it's barely taller. This one's $50. This one's $120. This one is my number 3 pick. This one was my number 10 pick. If Hasbro could do what New Age did with this figure for $50, with this figure, this thing probably would have been it would have been a knockout out of the park. People probably would have loved this figure a lot more than they do now. I mean, just if you get the chance to pick up one of these New Age Seekers, I would suggest picking up at least one and checking it out for yourself. This thing is awesome. The accessories that comes with it comes with extra hands, comes with extra pieces to make the regular missiles when it's in the jet mode. It comes with a flight stand that also doubles as the I can't remember what it's called, but the transporter that they used to get from Earth to Cybertron. Whenever you buy all of the New Age figures that are coming out, they'll all come with one piece to do that. But I just find that this $50 figure is so much more fun to mess around with and pose and everything else, and way easier to transform than this $120 figure. And then the weight is they feel like they weigh the same, even though this one's smaller. It has die cast. This one, I'm not really sure. I think maybe the thighs are die cast. Not a whole lot of this is die cast, but they feel like they weigh the same. But this thing is half the price. But anyways, on to my top 2 picks for 2019. The number 2 is the big boy himself. Let me get this raised up real quick. Sorry, it's taking a while. My handle on this tripod is actually broke, so I have to do this with my fingers. Not sure how it broke, but it is broke. All right, get this up to the head, move the lights around a little bit. But this is my number 2 pick. I thought about making it my number 1, but I think it is just fine at number 2 for what it is. And I'm glad I was able to get this. Is the first Jetfire / Skyfire figure that I've ever had. It's just an amazing figure, a very imposing figure when it's standing next to the rest of the Siege for Cybertron figures. And until I get the Omega Supreme, it is just one of the biggest Siege figures that I have. And it's a great figure. I know it's mostly white plastic, not a lot of it's painted, red stripes painted there. This is red plastic. This might be painted, but it's a darker color plastic. But other than that, this is a superb figure for the price, and it's just a big, imposing figure. If you have the chance to get this, I think at Ross they were clearancing these things out, Ross and Ollie's. If you got any of those stores, go there, pick this figure up. You will not regret it. I'm not gonna display him as the Skyfire with all of the extra or the Jetfire with all of the extra accessories. This will probably be my Skyfire, just like this on the shelf. And for my number 1 pick of 2019, MP44 Optimus Prime. This is probably the best as well as the most expensive figure that I picked up this year. The only thing I don't like about this figure, which I could get fixed. I had reached out to Hasbro about it, but as you can see, the antenna on his head are bent. And this one's glued forward while this one's glued regular. And I got a hold of Hasbro and I said, hey, can I just get a replacement head? You know, I'll pay for a replacement head. That's the only part I need. And their response was, we don't have replacement parts. You can send us your complete figure and we will send you another one in its place. The last time I was going to do that was when I bought Soundwave and my Ravage did not have a tail, and I got a hold of them and I was getting ready to send it in, and they told me that they would replace it with a like or similar product. So I basically would have sent in my Year of the Horse Soundwave and had a more than 50% chance that they would have sent me something that would have been the approximate retail value and not the same figure. I did not want to go through that with this, so I will just deal with the messed up head. Maybe I'll find one on eBay. Maybe somebody will sell their broken one or whatever, and I can buy it and I can just take the head off of it. But other than that, this figure, being what it is, price-wise, is just the best figure that I bought all year. It's probably the best Masterpiece figure I've bought since Sunstreaker. And it's just, everything about it is just great. All of the accessories that come with it, some of them I don't feel were totally necessary. The transformation was a little bit of a bear, but once I got through it, mainly everything from here down, the top part was all right, but here down was probably the worst because that's where everybody's breaking their figures. But other than that, I don't have batteries in it because I don't want any corrosion to get in the back. But from any and all angles, this figure basically looks good. And I mean, I had it on the shelf and I just had him standing there pointing out like he's directing where the Autobots need to go for the battle. But I've got a DTOF that I put together now, and I'm going to put all my Masterpiece in that. Then I'm going to put all my Earthrise and Universe on the shelf. And once I get that done, I'll take pictures, do a video, and let you guys see how that looks. But there you go. That is my number one pick for 2019. And then I'll pause the video for a moment and get all the rest back up here. Okay, there we go. We have all 10 plus the 3 honorable mentions in the frame. Those are basically all of my pickups except for maybe 1 or 2 that I did not find before I started making the video, but they probably would have been honorable pickups anyway. That would be the Bumblebee movie Optimus and the Transformers Siege War for Cybertron Sideswipe, which I always pick up Sideswipe because it was the first Transformer that I ever remember receiving, and it came from my grandma. So every time a Sideswipe comes out, I have to get a Sideswipe for that in memory. But thanks for watching. If you feel so inclined to subscribe, please do, and have a great new year.